Welcome to ServiceNow Integration Hub SAP Ariba Spoke demo. Today I'm going to show you how to create a new record and also look up a new record between ServiceNow and Ariba. Now all the information I'm going to upload under the FDIH public group in the SharePoint under this directory. So if you're SC or marketing or any internal employee of ServiceNow, you are able to go to this website or the SharePoint to get the relevant information to demo your this Ariba Spoke to your prospect customers or partners or whatnot. And let me give you some introduction of Ariba. So Ariba is one of the original procurement catalog items, that kind of software to begin with. It was before the cloud days, and they are mostly on-premise software to begin with. But later on, as a cloud movement starting to get adoption, then Ariba also moved into cloud. But as you know, as one of the original, very kind of influential software beforehand, they didn't really have like REST or SOAP or anything like that before. Just like how the old cloud company used to have. They mostly communicate using a file format to communicate or integrate between third-party systems. And right now, as Ariba is slowly adopting and moving more from the file-driven integration format into more SOAP and REST format afterwards. But because of the legacy and historical reason of the Ariba technology, even today, most of the integration is actually done through file, which is like more CSV format, comma delimited value format, file transformation. Basically, that's what it is between Ariba and ServiceNow in this case. And to double click onto this point, so here are some of the major protocols. And this one will be what most of the Ariba Spoke is going to focus on, coupled with some of the SOAP API call and a little bit of REST API call. Now, the purpose of this Spoke is to have a framework or the design pattern so that the customer can easily leverage on top of this design pattern and build their own kind of actions and integrations based on the Spoke itself. And this Spoke provides a good handful of examples or design pattern among the file format, the SOAP format, and a little bit of REST format so that the customer can easily mimic and extend the Spoke on. Now, scrolling down into the different options of Ariba, so as you can see, Ariba has many different integration points, 200 plus of those. And if you are actually looking at these 230 Ariba APIs, majority of them are actually in the file format, as I stated before. A handful of them are still in SOAP API format. There's a little bit of REST format. And because of how Ariba gonna expose the APIs that way in a file format, then from our integration hub perspective, we're gonna respect that and do the similar thing to wrap around these file CSV format to integrate between ServiceNow and Ariba. Now, from the Spoke perspective, this is the technical specs of the Ariba Spoke. Out of the box, you can see we are coming out of quite a handful of the actions. Now, this is not comprehensive. I'm going to show you more than just this. Okay. Now, we have some actions, which retrieve invoices, and ITK, meaning the file export and file import. Now, what's the difference between export and import and what perspective it is in? So today, for the V1 version, export is meaning we are getting information from Ariba back to ServiceNow. So export meaning is from the perspective of Ariba. They're pushing things from Ariba back to ServiceNow, which means now from the ServiceNow perspective, we are getting and look up things from Ariba into ServiceNow. Import meaning creating from ServiceNow back to Ariba. Again, it is like from the perspective of Ariba. So importing means, hey, I want to get something into Ariba. So that's why it's called importing. I know the naming convention is a little bit confusing. We're gonna looking for an upgrade of the naming convention consistency in the future. But in the meantime, for this version, bear with it. Export meaning lookup from ServiceNow, looking up things from Ariba. And then import meaning ServiceNow pushing or creating something from ServiceNow to Ariba. Okay. And then we have 3 samples of SOAP APIs, which is the create suppliers, sourcing project, and also updating the sourcing project right there. Okay. Now, in terms of getting things, let's talk about creating things from ServiceNow into Ariba. So first of all, we want to create a record in ServiceNow, and then we want to wrap around with like a zip file, and then we were gonna push it into Ariba, and that one is using a utility spoke. So we're gonna find a record in ServiceNow, zip it up, and then push it into Ariba, and that's for creating any new record from ServiceNow into Ariba. Now, getting a new record or a record from Ariba back to ServiceNow, similar things. First, we're gonna be extracting the list of records from Ariba back to ServiceNow as a data source, and then using a transform map, we're gonna push it into some custom table per your choice, right? Per your customer requirements. That can be some base table that needs to be mapped into. But essentially, the importing or getting things from Ariba will be following the traditional data source import set with a transform map, and do some correlates and auto mapping or identify the unique records so that you won't copy any duplication from the data source into the target tables, which is the base table performed by the customer per the requirements right there. So again, create will be ServiceNow, a custom record, wrap around it with a zip file, and then push it into Ariba. And then if you are getting things from Ariba, that will be getting the information from Ariba into the data source. And data source, using the traditional method, will do the transform map and then push it into the base table right there. Now the next thing you'll be wondering, hey, what kind of like a schema should I expect or create my record with to push things, pull things from from the between back and forth of ServiceNow and Ariba. So right now we have something called a data dictionary. A data dictionary is the definition of the schema that is expected between ServiceNow and Ariba. And what you can do is basically you can download this easily from Ariba. If your customer have a Ariba instance, this Ariba instance right here, all they have to do is to go to Manage, Administration, and then under the Integration Manager, there's a data definition, and then you download the data dictionary right here. So the data dictionary will consist of the schema, what columns it is expected for each CSV file for the different kind of data that's expected. For example, like export suppliers users, currency, what kind of column it is there are, and then what kind of data types expected. And then from that one, then you can transcribe accordingly into the ServiceNow record. And then you will enter the data right there, and zip it up, and then push it into Ariba afterwards. And then similarly importing, you will import back as spreadsheets right there, a CSV file. And then from a CSV file, you're doing the usual transform map, and then you import back into ServiceNow that way. I'm going to show you more as we dive into the demo. Okay. So first of all, let me show you how to create a record from ServiceNow to Ariba. Okay, Ariba. So the scenario I'm gonna provide you today is to create a new supplier from ServiceNow into Ariba. For the example right here, we create some easy to access, application redirects right here. But essentially, under the hood, you're creating a new custom record, and a custom record schema will be based on a data dictionary provided from Ariba. And we are going to create a new supplier organization for the sourcing module of Ariba. As you can see right here, already created one sample before. I'm gonna modify this existing record to save some time. But you may ask, hey, so this is out of the box, right? What if the customer wants to, create another scenario or another record into, from ServiceNow into Ariba? What you need to do is to actually go to the table and then go to the table definition. In this case, you're doing to supplier. Well, now let's say in the future, you want to do like a currency or PO order. You want to create a PO from ServiceNow into Ariba. Then all you have to do is create a new table schema per the data dictionary that is provided from Ariba. And then you create those columns and then data types accordingly into this table. And then you will populate these table values, and then you can do the usual zipping and then push it into Ariba afterwards. Okay. But in terms of time, let me show you the existing sourcing table that we have. So we have the table columns. This one is out of the box for you, so you can learn from the design pattern and approach that we do, how to create a new or establishing or defining a new table. Per the data definition, we can open up the data dictionary right here. A supplier, that will be the export supplier organization CSV. And then you can see in column E right here of the data dictionary, you can see the bunch of columns that are needed by Ariba. And these one will be the columns that will be understandable by Ariba per the file definition. And you can also see, hey, what will be the data types or the string length and all these things. So essentially, you would just need to follow the schema of this data dictionary. And then you will create the same thing into these table columns right here. Now, once they are in sync, then you can further populate the information of this table, and then you can create the integration between ServiceNow and Ariba. Now, as you can see, we already have some table definition right here, and then further exposed in this Ariba application. We're gonna create a new supplier from here. So I'm just say EK supplier 2. Let's do the same thing. 2 right here. Blah. Okay. So mostly it. And then I think we can do some unique number right here just in case. Okay. So there you go. Now I've created like a supplier number 2 right here. Update it. Now the next thing, let me go and show you the execution flow. So the one that we're gonna integrate between ServiceNow and Ariba is this sample flow. What it does is basically recreate a table record in ServiceNow. And for this flow, it's gonna show you a design pattern. Hey, how can I zip it, wrap around, and then push it into Ariba? So first, to begin the file, this is part of the utility spoke. When you install this spoke, it will automatically come with it as a dependency file or dependency spoke. So you should have the utility spoke out of the box when you install this Ariba spoke as well. And what happened is you look up the supplier source record, which in this case that's the custom table that we do that I showed you beforehand. And then of course you can create multiple entries of this table. And for each item, you just append that into the CSV file, build the file, and then you couple with some other another sourcing file. Then you begin, zip it up, and then send it into Ariba afterwards. Okay. By the way, I believe this one also needs an ID right there. So let me also modify this one real quick. It's actually the unique identifier right here. Good that I look at the sample flow. Otherwise, I may miss that as well. So what it is like in order to create a new supplier, first you have to define the supplier ID and then also the supplier organizations, which is like the child elements right there. So then you can actually do the whole end-to-end creation of the supplier in this case. So let me do a test. So now if among the successful creation, then you should see a completion of this creation, and then you will see the new supplier number 2 in Ariba instance itself. So yeah, let's give it a shot. So what it does behind the scene, first gonna wrap up the supplier ID record right there, zip it up, and then begin a file. We have a file created, CSV file created. Then you also further wrap up the supplier actual data, and then also create a file of it. And then the last thing is to zip it up and then send it into Ariba. Now let's see the execution record right here. It's all completed. Awesome. Successful. Build is successful. So it looks like everything is good. So now let's see in Ariba if the supplier is actually coming over. So now we are in Ariba environment. And then let's click on supplier management. EK source. Supplier. Nope, not one. I want 2. It takes a while to reflect. Yep, there you go. It takes about 2 minutes lag before you actually show up. Let's see. Yep, creation date, March 2021. Yes, all the information. Maybe it still take a while to reflect all the information, but it shows the integration is successful coming into it. Refresh it again. Do it one more time. Tax information. Postal address. Yep, so these all coming over. And this is the unique generated number right here. Cool. So now this is the creation from ServiceNow to Ariba. Now the next thing is to get back the list of things from Ariba back to ServiceNow. And what happened is to going into the import route, the export route in this case, from Ariba back to ServiceNow. And all you have to do is do drag and drop 2 things, and with a daily scheduler as well, since you're going through the traditional data source, transform map, and base table, that kind of approach. We're gonna do first execute Ariba export task, and for this one, you can choose the list of CSV files that are gonna be exported now from Ariba to ServiceNow. We're just getting things from Ariba. And out of the box, we have several definition already predefined for you, which makes like the whole integration much easier. And if I go back into this thing right here, that will be the export definition right here. And of course, you can add new things per your customer requirements right here. And it's also per the data dictionary, what kind of task value name would that be, and then zip or unzip. And those will be all provided from like the data dictionary right here. Okay. And that's the task name. So you may want to copy and paste the exact name right here. Put it right here. And then when you trigger the integration, you will look up the right task name accordingly in Ariba, and then get the list of values from Ariba back to ServiceNow. Okay. So now the next thing is about copying the Ariba file into a data source. So in this case, you have to predefine a CSV data source right here, which is a file format data source. And all you have to do is to go back to the ServiceNow platform, and data source. And in the data sources, then you can create a new data source, and then you define, hey, this is actually the file attachment right here. And then a CSV delimiter will be a comma right here. And then you will define your name right here as well. And let me show you a existing data source. So that is the data source that we have. Okay. And now the next thing is, let's give it a shot, pulling back the data from Ariba into ServiceNow. So now it's kicking off the process. It will take a while. Yep, get something right there and pull it. So with this, you can go into the record itself. And then you can see now 2 new files has come back. Now if you go into the file, it's easier, always our friend. See, look at this, much easier. Scroll all the way down. 2 down for me. Hold on. We have a bunch of data right here. And the EK supplier 2. That's the one that we have. 6, 7, 8, and all these things right here. So now we have the information that we need. But then this is just the beginning. The data source, of course, you have to predefine a data map. And then you will transform into the base table what you need per your customer requirements. But this is the beginning right here. What you can do is further render it, create a transform map, and then push it into the base table afterwards. So that is the overall of this Ariba functionality between creating and getting things from Ariba. And let me see any other things I want to show you today. That's about it. So if you have any questions, let me know. My name is Edwin Kwan, and I'm the product manager in the Integration Hub team. So email me. I'm glad to help you on any of the customer engagement. Thank you.